Of all the moments that make up a life, a few stay suspended in memory, untouched by time, unsoftened by distance. They hang there, quiet but vivid, as if the world itself paused to let my heart remember. This is one of those moments. But before I tell it, please take a second to like the video and subscribe. It helps more than you think. It began softly, almost invisibly, with a look that wasn't meant to be noticed. It lingered too long, steady and deliberate, the kind that carried meaning it shouldn't have. I could have ignored it, should have brushed it off. But I didn't. Maybe because part of me had been waiting, quietly, to be seen that way again. And maybe he saw that in me, something restless, something half asleep. It started when Liam came to stay for the summer. My sister called late one night, her voice heavy with worry. Her son had been struggling, college, pressure, the noise of it all. He needed time away, she said. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere he could breathe. I had space, and silence. So I said yes. He was 22. Technically grown, though still young in the way that life hadn't hardened him yet. I hadn't seen him in years. When he arrived, suitcase in hand, the air shifted. The boy I remembered, awkward, all knees and elbows, had vanished. In his place stood someone different. Surer. There was a calmness to him, but also a warmth that softened it. When he smiled, it reached his eyes. The first few days were simple. We fell into a rhythm without trying. Mornings with coffee and open windows. The soft shuffle of feet in the kitchen, easy silences that didn't need to be filled. He fixed small things without being asked, the loose hinge on the gate, the drawer that stuck. We cooked together, nothing elaborate, just shared meals and small laughter between them. He wasn't talkative, but when he spoke, I listened. There was something in his voice, measured, steady, that made ordinary words feel meaningful. And then came that Tuesday afternoon. We were in the living room, sorting through old boxes of books I'd been meaning to organize for years. The smell of dust and yellowed paper filled the air. I knelt to pick up a tattered novel, brushing the cover clean. When I looked up, he was already watching me. He didn't look away. Didn't pretend he hadn't been caught. His gaze held mine, quiet, unwavering. For a heartbeat, the world stilled. The hum of the ceiling fan faded, the sunlight froze in the dust. I felt a flush rise under my skin, a warmth that surprised me. It wasn't bold. It wasn't even intentional. But it was seen. And being seen after years of invisibility, it did something to me. I told myself it meant nothing. That I was reading into it. That he was tired, distracted. But the next morning, I caught him looking again. This time, when I teased him about burning the toast, he smiled, slow, real, not at the joke, but at me. From that moment, something in the air changed. We began moving differently, speaking differently. Our nearness took on a quiet weight. When we passed each other in the hallway, our arms brushed, just long enough to notice. When he handed me something, his fingers brushed mine, unhurried, tentative, as if asking permission. And I found myself answering, not in words, but in stillness, in staying. I began to notice things about him I hadn't before. How he waited for me to speak before he did. How his eyes searched for me when he entered a room. How he remembered tiny details I hadn't thought twice about. The way I stirred my tea, the way I cracked the window open before bed, even in winter. He saw me in a way few ever had. He stopped feeling like a guest. He started feeling like something else, something unnamed but constant. Then came the night the storm arrived. My life about to change in those moments, I think. The rain began soft, then heavy, drumming against the roof, washing the world clean. The power flickered once, twice, then vanished altogether. The room went dim, the only light coming from the silver flash of lightning through the windows. We were sitting on opposite ends of the couch. The movie had long since lost our attention, replaced by a silence that carried more than words could. Between us, a folded blanket. I remember the scent of rain drifting through the cracked window. The air felt charged, alive. "Well," I said quietly, trying to sound casual. "Looks like we're stuck." "Could be worse," he murmured, his voice soft but certain. He shifted closer, not much, just enough that our arms brushed. Neither of us moved away. "It's strange," he said after a while. "How silence can feel louder than words sometimes." I turned toward him. He was closer than I'd realized. Close enough to see the tiny freckle near his collarbone, to feel the faint warmth of his breath. "I know what you mean," I whispered. We stayed like that, unmoving, unspoken, present. The storm raged outside, but inside, everything was still. And when the lights finally flickered back on, neither of us moved. His hand found mine, uncertain but deliberate. I didn't pull away. After that, something shifted. We didn't talk about it. We didn't need to. The air between us changed, quiet but undeniable. We lingered near each other more. Shared space more easily. The silence between us became full instead of empty. Every small thing seemed to carry new meaning. Grocery runs turned into small adventures. Washing dishes side by side became wordless conversations. Afternoons on the porch stretched into soft evenings where neither of us wanted to move. We never crossed a line, not in words, not in touch. What existed between us wasn't reckless or fleeting. It was patient, reverent. A connection rooted in restraint, in what wasn't said. One afternoon, sunlight filtering through the kitchen window, he told me he'd started writing again. "I stopped for a while," he admitted. "Didn't feel like I had anything left to say. But being here, it's different. It's like something came back." "Something?" I asked softly. He smiled, looking down. "I don't even know what exactly. Just, you did." I didn't know what to say. My throat tightened, my heart ached in that quiet, beautiful way that only comes when something true has been spoken. I didn't answer, but I think he knew I felt it too. As summer stretched on, the days grew slower. There was a peace in it, but also an ache beneath the calm, a knowing that this couldn't last forever. One evening, near the end of his stay, I found myself on the balcony, wrapped in my old shawl. The sun was setting slow and heavy, bleeding orange and violet into the horizon. The air smelled like cut grass and cooling rain. He joined me without a word, sitting close enough that our shoulders touched. We watched the sky darken. The cicadas hummed low in the trees. "I'll be heading back next week," he said finally. His voice was quiet, but sure. I nodded, staring at the line where the sky met the fields. "I know." He hesitated, then began, "I wish." But I turned to him, meeting his eyes. "I know," I said again, and meant it. Because some things don't need to be said to be real. Some truths live in the space between words, in a look, a pause, a shared breath.